Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Prize, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Del Borovic as Morgan Rolls, and Josh Halbot as Gideon Vega. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band have entered Commorragh. Valentyne used Trin Rakai to locate the gate. Gideon abandoned his family sword to become something new. Attikus had to disguise his faith behind his shield. And Morgan bet Jeffer'y on their eventual success. But can these heroes rig a drukhari blood games and escape Commorragh altogether? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
One night only, at the Bladed Pit, the cult of the Beckoning Thorn faces off against the cult of the Jaded Blade. Father versus son. Witch against witch. It's Don't Miss Bloodsport tonight. You are making your way to meet Davros Malantura, the Archon of the Cabal of the Blooded Sand. You are in Commorragh, the Dark City, a horrific, interdimensional nightmare port of the drukhari, a.k.a. the Dark Eldar for Warhammer players like me who've been around a long time and refuse to take the new versions of these character names.
Third edition is the best edition.
Yeah, you heard here, not first. It's just a clear fact. Anyway, you are in this nightmare city. You have arrived in order to get transport to Mars on your quest to save the Emperor. You've just departed from the Black Library, having learned a few things. Gideon, you learned how better to wield your warp powers. Attikus, you got a new shield. Valentyne, you found out about Pandora, the demon who has aspirational goals of godhood amidst the Chaos Pantheon. And Morgan, you just traded Jeffer'y to a bookie.
Jeffer'y.
Yes, bet Jeffer'y to a bookie.
We might get him back.
We're going to get two Jeffers.
Double Jeff.
We get Jeffer'y in a brain in a jar.
Gideon, you just saw Jeffer'y get bartered away for an unclear purpose. Like, you placed a bet. I'm not quite sure what you want from the bet.
We want to win.
We want to win.
We're betting on ourselves. It's the only way you want to bet in a death game.
Fair enough. Gideon, how does Gideon react to the trading of Jeffer'y?
I think Gideon is getting more or less and less precious about his life beforehand. Like, I feel like that, given the circumstances, there's nothing to him that really holds a lot of value aside from sort of new bonds that he's making.
Okay.
So I feel like the stuff that he has, the sword, Jeffer'y, they're all just becoming kind of like vestiges of a life he doesn't recognize anymore.
So Jeffer'y like shuffles around and stares at you with his squished face.
And Gideon avoids eye contact. Like, I feel like he feels bad, but like this is the mission now.
Jeffer'y just turns around and shuffles over into like
He's next to the legless, one-armed drukhari with a gun.
He's got
all the appendages this guy needs.
He's got a bookie office around the corner.
This guy's asking us about his purpose. I'm like, motherfucker, he'll carry you around. He's awesome.
So the bookie says, excellent. We will assess the value of this screaming brain device you have given us. And if the cult of the Beckoning Thorn wins, you shall receive as much back. Thank you for placing a bet.
Thank you for your service.
He mutters something in drukhari.
Whatever.
All right.
That was perfect counter muttering right there.
We all mutter and then we leave.
Yes.
As every conversation with a bookie ends, it just trails off.
Great. So, having completed your business and knowing from Trin Rakai roughly where you can find Davros, you make your way further into Commorragh. And as Valentyne warned, there are just crimes as far as the eye can see. The Reaver band you saw earlier at one point just swoop attacks a couple of people walking along. One of them gets sliced in half. The other man just to get a pistol out and fire some shards at the vehicles as they fly by. For Attikus and Morgan, you would both find these weapons strange because they fire small sort of crystalline shots. Like there's no...
You said shards, which is,
Yeah, it's not like you're used to las fire or bolter fire, so seeing something just kind of like... The shuriken catapults are also fire like small projectiles, so you're just hearing a lot of... Thump, coming out of these weapons, not traditional gunfire. It's the difference between an electric car and a standard combustion car. It's just like vaguely unsettling the first time you hear the sound of these things, but it's also just weird. It just adds to the unreality of all of this. And again, the depth of I guess for Attikus particularly, like, depravity of this place that it can't even use a proper fucking gun. They've got these weird...
Yeah, for you who went to a traditional imperial church, this is how they describe every alien world.
the propaganda works.
Yeah, admittedly, one for one, you know?
This is what it's like everywhere.
So you see the person like open fire on the Reavers as the Reavers like ride off laughing. And then they look down at their compatriot who's like kind of like reaching up to them. They just kind of shake their head and in disgust and take off into the night. And you just watch that hand kind of shake for a moment and then slowly drop.
That's when Valentyne approaches Gideon and says, "We will do our best to return Jeffer'y. We've bet on our own success, meaning we must succeed or we will all be doomed."
I have faith in your decisions, Inquisitor. Inspector. It's always.
Thank you, Gideon.
Gideon, do you mean that?
I think he says it to him.
But
no, I don't think
Okay, then I need a deception, please.
Lying.
And Valentyne...
To the mister.
Perception?
Yeah, perception for you.
Yeah.
Why would you lie?
Because he does
Says
not want
Morgan
to get,
Rawls, a woman constructed of 90% lies, 10% bones.
Only
Do you
she
want to
can.
do you want to do a competing check? Do you want to use mine as his difficulty? How do you want to swing this?
Let's do an opposed check.
Great. So
Please.
neither of us rolls difficulty. We just roll to see who succeeds more.
In deception, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, that's just straight.
Yeah, you got it. That's correct.
I would pitch a boost because I saw him talk to the Black Library, and I know he lied about that.
Okay. Yep. I'll take that.
Liar spot's a liar.
But Josh, I'll also give you a boost because you may not fully trust Valentyne, but you do mean what you are genuine about, like to the point you just made about Jeffer'y. If Jeffer'y is lost, it's just like, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
All righty.
Good to go.
What'd you get?
I got 3 successes and an advantage.
I have 2 successes, 5 advantage, and a triumph.
Son of a bitch.
I read them like an open book.
Yikes.
My pool was 3 yellow, a green, and a boost.
Oh, well.
Josh, I'm sorry.
He's going up against the professional.
I was gonna
Valentyne is
say,
built
yeah.
to not die in combat and see shit.
Yeah. What's your
Investigate.
rank again? Inquisitor?
Oh shit, he's inquisiting. Okay, so I think with the triumph, this might bring some of what you've been concealing to a head, Gideon, in this moment. But Ryan, I'll let you, or not, Ryan, it's up to you. But I will let you spend a triumph to force Gideon to talk about the shit he doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah, I think Valentyne will just call him out.
Get into it.
That's the easy thing is we're walking that because there's no time, and technically this is not combat to Valentyne. Other people are getting dismembered left, right, and center, but no one's attacking us. So
That's
this is
true.
as good a moment as we might get.
You're just lucky there's fewer people out. They're in groups of 2 like morons.
Oh, insanity. Insanity.
Rubes.
But the other reason why this would be a time where Valentyne would do this is an area where Gideon has no advantage and no illusion that going to talk to somebody and disappearing might be good. There's nowhere in Commorragh where you're like, I'm going to go over here and open a nice muffin store. Like that shit doesn't happen here. The moment he gets to Mars, there's humanity. There are ships that go on and off world. It's possible to disappear into things. You put on Martian robes, you can wander. You'll probably get caught and murdered, but Gideon's panicked, and that means he's not very smart about these things. And Terra, he's already like, I'm bringing an unsanctioned psyker to Terra. I need him to be solid before I'm like, dear Adeptus Custodes, you can trust this one. I don't, but you can. He'll kill us all. So this is just the time he has before facing off with the drukhari, who are also very good at body language and a bunch of things, though they speak a different language. Gideon, you've been lying to me for some time, and you've spoken to the Black Library when you thought you were doing it in your head. You really need to work on your overall secrecy skills. At the same time, you're terrified of me, you're clearly thinking heretical thoughts, and I'm pretty sure that you are spending your time planning how to run away or fearing that I will shoot you in the head. This is all counterproductive.
I don't think it. The defeat, I think, that would just kind of wash over him is just got to be so palpable because that's everything. And I think he thought, and with the Black Library too, I think he thought, and with Morgan, and with what little cunning that he thinks he possesses, he thought he might be able to kind of squirrel some of this stuff away and think that, he can ask, like his conversation with Oragoth and with the library, that these are private things that he can. But now I think he realizes that none of these things, there's been no safety for him anywhere. There's no safety from an external level, and there's clearly no safety on an internal level anymore. And, it's funny to me as a character, but it must be so soul crushing to Gideon, over and over again, that he has no agency anywhere he goes. He has no agency. He has no friends. He just has cruelty and a horrible demon planet, and then this blood spray as soon as he walks in, and then a man that keeps prodding him, being tell me what you think. So I feel like he looks at you, and I think you see in his eyes that he's just so defeated by that, and I think the fear of you killing him might be fading away into maybe that would be kind of nice. Maybe I don't need to hold these things back anymore, because what am I living for? What is the point if this is just he can't see the light at the end of the tunnel going forward? So I think he looks at you with a genuine defeat and goes, yes, Inspector. Or sorry. I can't. Sorry.
Gideon, it's fine. For the sake of this conversation, if you speak a respectful term, I will assume it is me.
I don't know what you want me to say. That is all true. I think all of those things.
Excellent. I'm going to guess that right now you just felt completely defeated, like I had peeled you open and exposed everything inside, that life was bad, you had no agency, and now you're thinking death might be preferable to what's going on. I'm very good at my job.
Yes.
So why are you pretending to be fully emotionally stable, locked down and saying 3 words at a time?
Because I don't know what else to do in this scenario.
Have you considered trusting me and answering the questions? Committing yourself to this band, admitting your weaknesses as well as your strengths, and then becoming a part of something greater than yourself. That's how you gain trust. We have agency in what we do, but the more you deny your fear, the more you deny all of these emotions that are flowing through you, the more you isolate yourself from this band, the more we cannot trust you because you will run.
And I think he stews on that for a little while, and he's Inquisitor. I find myself jealous sometimes of the way that you look at these issues, the vice with which you contain your own emotions. But that does not exist within me. I cannot turn these things on and off like a switch. I cannot trust indiscriminately and cut things out and deny and believe in things that I'm learning every day are untrue and different and ever-changing and terrifying to me. I don't have the willpower I think that you possess. I'm just trying to make my way forward in my way.
And what is your way? That is the key question here.
I don't know. This is what we are. This is what I am doing. This is my way was to live on a planet with little shitty parties. That was my way. And now I am here. I'm on this place. What am I, how do I say that I believe in the Emperor now and everything is great and
I mean, the thing is, you're assuming there are right answers to the questions I'm asking. You're assuming that you have to be thrilled with all the things that are happening around you. You're assuming that you have to shape yourself to a series of beliefs that would be, frankly, impossible, considering you found out most of this information in, conservatively, the last 18 hours, and you slept for 8 of them.
I'll also say Morgan and Attikus, there's no privacy here. So
Oh, no.
you
Valentine's
guys
not worried about this.
well, no, but also just in terms of
Morgan is watching out around. There's people around. For one thing, at least she feels like this is coming across overall as someone scared and someone yelling at them, which it bears good for us in the general vibe of people overhearing this. But she is definitely keeping head on a swivel.
Attikus is also looking out, but I think when the allegations were all laid out in a row, Attikus just slowly turns over to Gideon and then kind of gets a read of the situation of oh, they're talking it out. Okay, fine. He just pans his head back, looking around at various raiders and scavengers and all murders and stuff.
Great.
So I have no other choice right now, but I have no. Every time we have talked up to this point, when you mention the heretic and the Xenos, it is death. It is always death. Every time ends in death, ends in execution. I've seen you. I have watched what you do. So, and I know this is not the place for this conversation.
Oh, no, it actually is. That's why we're having it. After this, we're going to be on Mars, and then we're going to be on Terra, and we're going to be facing off with alien warlords. This is really our best time for you and I to get on the same page.
When I spoke with the library, with the infinity circuit, I asked about the nature of the warp and my place in it, and I learned a lot, and I feel more confident in what I am doing. But I asked about you as well, Inquisitor, and I think I learned about you as well. And while I am unsure of all of this, of these environments, of how this is going to play out, I will try to be more forthcoming in the future.
That's a great idea. How about takes 2 steps. Now, what is going on? This is what I'm trying to make as a point to you. Yes, death is everywhere. I'm not going to lie to you about that. In fact, I make a habit of not lying to you about that. I feel like a lot of people would tell you that you're going to be okay. You're not. You're a psycho. If you go off, you die. And at the same time, if I take off this rosette and walk down that alley, I'm dead. We all burn bright, and we burn for a very short period of time. It's a question of purpose within our lives, not more. You had 20-something years of comfort. That was a cage that was built around you. You're outside of that cage now. You've been given strength you did not otherwise have. But if you don't have purpose and we can't trust you, that is deeply challenging for us moving forward.
I think when he hears him say that you burn bright and briefly, I think I think he makes that connection, that the things that the library was saying, the things that the Inquisition or that Valentyne is saying are not necessarily as opposed as maybe he would think they are.
Don't tell Attikus.
Yeah.
Head swivels back around.
No.
But again, I think, just trying to find meaning, I think, is where he's stuck at.
I get the feeling that you're trying to find meaning.
Yeah.
And at this, L1 actually just bumps forward a bit and says, Lord Inquisitor, perhaps I can be of service.
Okay. Go ahead.
And just again, just like a horrible blank shell thing turns to you. It says, Greybridge was a comfort, yes, but many in your situation Previous generations of the Vegas, as well as many of the others, would eventually have encountered the same issue of death and purpose. The reason King Frederick was such an inefficient ruler is he did not find any purpose other than to service my master in a variety of hedonistic disasters. Most people faced with your dilemma on Greybridge encountered this same problem. Do not assume that had you continued to live on Greybridge, an answer would have presented itself. Your mother would have passed away one day, you would have inherited the house Vega, and, like most of the other lordlings within the society, you would have spun your wheels, trying to determine if there was anything better for you there. She turns slightly and says, "Oddly, it was the original Lord Van Houten who left in order to seek out better fortunes and a better life. He was a fool and died in the stars, penniless, alone, and forgotten. However, the urge was still there to leave. Do not assume your old life would have led to a better result. It may have been the same. I have seen it many times and reported it many times. I fear it would have been the same for you. Calculating the odds, it is almost certain."
I think I'll leave one parting thought in addition to L1's rather eloquent words. Thank you,
Floats
L1.
back.
You lack a purpose currently. You feel like there is one out there that will find you. That is an illusion. That is a mistake. I cannot tell you your purpose. I've been asking you questions to try to help you find it, and I hope that it will be one that will align you with our cause for your own reasons. Each of us has. Mine, cold logic. Being raised in the Imperium, the facts were laid out, the choices were made, and I ended up where I am. Colonel Viss, he lives for duty. There is nothing else for him but the duty to the throne. Interrogator Morgan Rawls began as tremendously self-serving. Working her way up after a traumatic past, she has committed herself in the hour of darkness to the cause of the Inquisition, perhaps slightly to the cause of me. We're working on that. But you don't have a purpose currently. And until you find one, you will be listless. And the greatest danger without a purpose girding your soul as we move forwards as an inquisitorial band is, the only things you will meet on this journey are the most dangerous, vile, hateful, spiteful, heretical, mutant monsters that can be imagined in this galaxy. After you've left your world, you've met things that break most people's minds, and then their bodies, and then their souls. That's all I can promise you exposure to. So if you let the winds of where we go shape you, you end up like that, points to body on ground, or those, the reavers up there that are hauling things apart, or Oragoth, or you end up part of a conspiracy to destroy the Golden Throne, because whoever speaks to you the most kindly and the most alluringly and plays into your illusions will keep you safe. I tell you the truth. It is unpleasant, because life is unpleasant. The Imperium is an unpleasant place, deep in its heart. We can choose to be pleasant within it. I don't need an answer, to be clear. I've chased answers for too many questions from you, and I already know them. This is a question you have to answer for yourself, and I look forward to seeing when you answer it. I hope it is soon.
Yeah, I think Gideon would just nod and keep progressing.
Cool. Morgan, you get a ping on your subdermal comm bead thing from L1.
Oh, great. Yep. And then she'll sub-vocalize back. Yes.
Forgive the interruption, Captain. It occurs to me, Captain, that you have now been some time without your clearance.
That's right.
Are you okay?
We're going to take some long moments and she's walking. And she is thinking about, like, weirdly enough, she does have this connection with Lizardmen. And thinking about Terseus back on the ship, it's like, Morgan is like, I seem to find easier connections with people who are mostly not people. I'm not, but we have other goals that are more important than that right now. But thank you for asking.
If it is a comfort, he impaled me with the Lord Inquisitor's sword because he was unable to come through the tear itself. But when he booted me off of it, he was still alive.
So he didn't come through at all?
No. He was injured. He was crawling towards the rift. He could not make it, so he stabbed me and shoved me through instead.
Well, he is in the Emperor's hands now, and may the Emperor protect him.
As are we all, Captain. That just floats back.
We're going to keep walking.
Valentyne would sink back with Attikus for just a moment and say, Attikus, you truly are a blessing.
Thank you, sir. What for?
Blessed is the man whose mind has no room for doubt.
Oh, well, yeah, it's me then, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Well, you help me with that, sir. Greybridge and all that subterfuge business. I had my doubt. But, Roboute Figuerello helped, Van Houten navigate all that. Killed it. Killed the doubt in my heart, sir. And it's gone now.
And with that doubt gone, you killed 3 Space Marines. Interesting.
Yes, sir. You ordered me to.
That is true, and at the same time, I told you to do things on your own tactical recognizance. You're growing as a tactician, Colonel.
I am?
Yes. You are.
Oh, good.
You're constantly improving. You're strong, you're fearless, you are a true agent of the Emperor. Just impressive.
Oh, well, thank you very much, sir.
I even saw you inspire Gideon.
Aye?
The hand-holding thing.
That was just to stop his...
He looks, make sure Gideon can't hear him.
Gideon absolutely can.
Yeah. I was like,
Stop his, blubbering and maybe exploding.
That most of the time when someone looks to inspire someone, they do it because they need to be inspired. It seems like you spotted the moment that it was required.
Yes, sir, yes. I know he couldn't carry on like that. That's true.
So you can also spot fear and doubt in others. And you know how to assuage it, giving them the capabilities they need to serve the Emperor.
I suppose that's true, sir.
I suppose it is, Colonel. You may be due a promotion in the near future.
Promotion, sir?
Yes, given more tasks, greater scopes of responsibility.
Well, I will see any of your orders done, sir.
Excellent. Excellent work, Colonel.
I have a question about the ranks that we have, like Colonel,
Yes.
Inquisitor, Interrogator. Interrogator is under Inquisitor.
Yes.
And above Colonel, right?
Colonel
like,
is so
like
Colonel
second to the Inquisitor's Interrogator.
You'd kind of know that, yeah. So it's like
Okay.
an inquisitorial apprentice. Colonel means you are currently of a rank that you could command an entire regiment of the Imperial Guard.
Okay.
So above that, you're starting to look at the forms of general,
Okay.
and then the highest rank in the Astra Militarum, which is almost never given out, is War Master.
Okay.
But that's you get your own crusade style shit.
Right.
Colonel
Okay.
would mean you would be in charge of anywhere between 5,000 to 15,000 guardsmen if you were given your own regiment.
Okay. But within the Inquisitorial band, Interrogator
Technically,
Rawls
Morgan would outrank you.
outranks. Okay,
Because
that's-
it's best to think of them as two organizations, right? So like
Right.
the Inquisition outranks everybody. So even
Yes,
a low
okay.
ranking Inquisitorial agent who isn't just like some fucking guy would outrank.
Yeah.
It's like FBI versus cops, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, like you're high up in the police, but the FBI can still just show up and be like, we're gonna need this car, and you're like, fine.
that information colors something for Attikus, because you Valentine's saying that, like, actually, because we're going to Mars and then Terra, this is kind of the only place where we can have a conversation. And Attikus had like the word conversation stuck in his head of like Rawls trying to have a conversation with him. So he's gonna, as we're like moving through the streets, try to sidle up to Morgan as we're like still like scurrying from alley to alley as we make our way. And he'll say,
Interrogator Rawls, may I have a word for a moment?
Morgan was thinking randomly about Eli, and then suddenly a man.
Valentyne will take point for a brief moment to do the prerequisite paranoia of moving through the city.
We're passing the lead around.
Yeah.
Colonel Viz, of course. What do you need?
I'd like to apologize, interrogator, for earlier today you tried to have a conversation with me, and I didn't know what to make of it. I, up to this point, have carried a measure of distrust for you. There was a while there when you were teaching me how to lie and behave early on in the Greybridge operation. You were so good at it, so convincing, it occurred to me you could be lying to us at any given time. So, wanted to apologize. I understand now what you wanted to do with those conversations. The Inquisitor has had conversations with me before, you know, asking me things to understand how best to utilize me, use me in the field, shape me into what he needs me to be, to do the things he needs to do. I understand now that by questioning you, I was not making myself available to you for those same purposes. So, just want to say, anytime you want to have a conversation, I'm available. You can order me to do anything you need to do.
This is the most words Morgan has ever heard out of Attikus the entire time she has known him.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes a moment and she nods, and you are a very good agent on a lot of levels, Colonel Viz. I appreciate that. And no, I am telling you now, I will never lie to you. As part of this band, and I tried to teach you, but it seemed you didn't need that much tutelage on Greybridge. You are naturally adept at many things. But I just want you to know I will have your back. I know you protect Valentyne, and I wish to do that as well. And if we work together, we might be stronger at that. So, I will tell you if I need anything of you, and please know that I will always be here, listening and ready if you need me.
And just thinking back to how Morgan sort of initiated the conversation back in the Black Library, wanting to thank him, he'll just like ape that back and say, "Thank you."
You're welcome.
Good, right.
Carry on.
Yes, interrogator. Yeah.
Valentyne, leading at the front, just has this brief moment of like, I hope Gideon heard the fucking example being set.
Yeah.
Did he?
I'm sure he was listening. I'm sure that the attempt is appreciated.
Yeah, and Attikus like isn't done. Like, I don't know how much time we got moving through this house and stuff like that. But he's looking to come back to Gideon too and be like,
You need a squeeze. After all that.
He's so good at everything.
He truly is the nicest boy.
He's the best.
I think
should be the Inquisitor.
Gideon, having just heard you talk about that, it was like kind of just like taking care of the baby.
Yeah.
Is a little like
You need it again.
I think he wants to be more resentful, but I think he kind of sighs deeply and then holds out his hand and goes, "Yes, thank you." He stops being kind of shitty for a second. He's like, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Attikus just not getting the exchange
He's
right.
nodding like, yes, that's how you do that.
All right. And with that, you see a sort of large, by the standard of what you've seen so far of Commorragh, plain-looking building, in the way that a lot of construction buildings are very, very plain. There's scattered ornamentation outside that looks like it could belong on an arena in terms of like massive kind of like a spiked parapet that's out front, but otherwise it's a very kind of plain dark metal building with the sigil of the Cabal, the Bloodied Sand, above it. And as you approach, there are two guards outside who are, wearing their full Cabalite armor. So think, again, we talked about the Eldar armor being kind of overlapping plates. This is the same, but in like for these folks, it's like in a dark brown and almost looks like blood tinged, almost like these different plates have been used to stab. So it's clearly been painted in that way, although their armor's all razor bladed up because they're nightmare humans. Sorry, nightmare people, I should say, because they're not humans. They're tall, lean, holding rifles, and they're not like standing around at ease. Like they are up and ready. As how do you want to approach this building? They're not like pointing at you right now. They're just kind of like it's the equivalent of like when there's looters on the street and there's like people standing outside a store with guns, being like, "Fuck off from this building."
Just before, I know you were saying that the Dark Eldar had like suppress all their psyker powers, right? Gideon's got the Synesians where he can kind of like see and detect. So I think as we start getting into more intense, he's just going to start trying to like teach himself how to start running that a little more frequently.
Baby. All right, give me a perception,
see
please.
if he gets anything. Perception.
And I'm going to say difficulty 2. Now that you've read your books and stuff, if you're reaching out for psyker auras, that's an easier.
Now that you've done your psyker Kumon?
Yeah, right now.
That was not supposed to be a big joke. Sorry.
No, sorry.
That was just an intrusive thought. I apologize.
Do you know what Kumon is?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. The Americans will know.
Yeah, they'll know.
Oh, the Americans know Kumon?
Yeah.
Oh, get out of town.
It's everywhere.
I picture that stupid little face.
Yep.
That, like sad.
Yeah, biggest joke of the show, Tyler. Way to kill it.
Great work.
Destroying it.
Sorry, that's it. Just
That's what the K in 40K stands for.
Yeah.
Kumon.
40
Wherever,
Kumon.
40 Kumon.
Are you ready to add up the points of your army?
Anything else? Yep.
I'll give you a boost for the fact that because they've suppressed their psycho abilities, there just aren't. It's an unused muscle, so they're not defending against it. They're just like their guard is down.
That's what I was going to ask. Like compared to the Hell Planet too, I imagine this must be like dipping into a pool that nobody else is in.
It is. That said, you're also. You were in the ocean previously, and now it feels like you're in a kiddie pool because there's just, and not by virtue even of them locking themselves off psychically, just like the warp is psychic energy. So that Hell Planet was like pure
unbridled
warp all the time.
Sure.
But that also brings some clarity and some focus because it's like, it's a lot easier to just pinpoint like that because before you would have just seen the light off everything. Now you only see the light off what you're looking at.
You're also in the middle of 10 billion screaming souls as they die.
I guess that.
Yeah.
Make things a little challenging.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Story points are still at 2 and 3 now that we've used them in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
But they're around.
Sure. Let's give it a shot. 2 successes, 2 advantage.
All right. It is unnerving to kind of look at them as your vision kind of blurs a bit. Their souls have literally, like, they don't burn with kind of that. I always think of it as like the night vision, like heat sensor thing. Theirs are there, you can see it, but where your companions and when you've looked at previously would be like bright, this is like dark, like jet black. Their souls are almost, to your vision, like they look parasitic, or I guess cancerous is probably the better term. And so you can see that there are a lot in this building. Even like an Archon in decline has a court. So it seems that he's kind of moved his command group here. You can see some brighter souls inside that are clearly not drukhari. But they all seem to be kind of in the center of the building is kind of where the only place you can get these sort of faint glows of people. One that is burning the equivalent of high beam compared to normal headlight bright. There's one extraordinarily bright light glowing in there that actually makes you feel a little ill.
Interesting. And it's like right in that little center.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think in an attempt to start trying to foster a better relationship with Valentyne, he'll before we get up to the guards, he'll say, Inquisitor, there are presences inside that are would I like psychers? Would I be able to kind of like?
You
or
wouldn't
just
necessarily
different?
know, but like something that is more connected to the warp than everything else in the room.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll convey something like that. I don't know if they are psychers or not, but they are not drukhari. They are something else.
Interesting. Yes, if you can keep a third eye out for any threats, specifically psychers, if they're in the room, that's important for us to know. That may mean we play things more honestly than we otherwise would have. I'm looking for opinions. Should we go in as the Inquisition, or should we go in as a rogue trader? Thoughts?
I'm not familiar with this world. What kind of pull does the Inquisition have around here?
Frankly, neither would have any pull in this environment. It's just a question of, do I go in as the leader, or do we go with the rogue trader, which arguably is less offensive, but might be more offensive if we're caught out?
Well, considering all of the subterfuge on Greybridge, perhaps honest, fast, and hard would be better for this place.
I mean, I like that plan, sir. Fast and hard, I can do that.
Then we can make things very simple for us, which might be wise. Gideon, please still watch out for the Psyker. If they make a move, it's the only one that the rest of us cannot be prepared for. All other things, hopefully, this will be a conversation followed by murders elsewhere instead of a conversation followed immediately by homicide. Valentyne is just taking out the cap and putting it on, and he's going to stride up to these guards holding the compass out. Everybody else gets to be armed. He's going to be the leader who doesn't need to be armed. He's so important and determined. And he'll go up to the door and say, I'm here for a private meeting with Davros. I'm here with Trin Rakai. And he's just going to turn the gems that it talks. Trin, we're at the door. It's time to meet Davros. Yes, please demonstrate that you're you.
And he will slip into drukhari, but then also like side translate for you. And he'll speak a bunch of incredibly kind of musical, and like the beauty of the language clashes hard against the vibe, because I imagine it's got to be just a generational variant of Eldari, which is fairly musical. So I'd imagine like Quebecois French instead of Parisian French. Like it's same family. It's not so far off from Eldari, but like with different intent and kind of a different flavor. He's bad at it. Like you can hear compared to the other voices that he's like struggling his way through it. He also wasn't really keeping up on it while he was being captain, like he'd in a spot. But he says, I have informed them of who I am and have used the key words and code phrases that Davros gave me back when we were making our plans. As I said, the conspirators and I were supposed to meet here in order to get our transportation to the Red Planet. This is rather awkward, Inquisitor, but there is one small issue with the code words. They're telling me that they are 10 years out of date. We may have been gone for a long time.
Excellent to know. Can you get me through this door?
How willing are you to kill? Not these guys, but guys. I mean, I know what I experienced, but...
Yes, imagine that with limitless potential.
Great. He turns back around and, again, says it and then translates. The guards kind of look at each other, look at you, look at Morgan, look at Gideon, look at Attikus, look at the fist, look back at each other. Kind of like, you can't see them do the little like mouth thing, but like, you know, pursed lip, like, maybe.
After you, Mr. Wick.
Yeah, exactly. And the doors open and Trin says, I promised them we could help with their little succession problem. So you may be on the hook for killing some gladiators, but either way, doors open.
I love being on the hook for things I'd planned to offer anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, you're welcome, my lord.
And you're welcome, tool. And he turns him to mute and puts him in his pocket.
And with that, you are ushered in to the last remaining stronghold of Davros Malantura, the Archon of the Bloodied Sand, and drawn into the political machinations of Commorragh.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Josh Halbot, and Del Borovic, alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Nithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L, Dia de los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Shulzari, The Long Family, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Alex Parr, Dragonfly, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Beef Not Cheese, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Adam, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Mickey Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.